Should you quit a job that you've just started? And by just started, I mean a job where you've not worked for more than 6 months. This is a question I keep getting now and then for professionals who are seeking our career coaching services. And I'll share with you tips on whether you should quit the job that you've just started, how to go explaining yourself during an interview, and even how do you indicate that experience, that short, brief experience that you got in that institution. And that is if you want it to remain in the CV, and whether you should even have it in the CV in the first place. So if you ask the question, should you quit a job you've just started? My perspective is that the answer is yes. But then what matters are the reasons why you want to quit a job or a company that you recently joined. So today I'll share with you what I believe are top 4 credible reasons why you should be able to quit a job that you've just started. And these reasons, even if another employer asks you and you give them, they will not affect the chances of you getting another job. So what is the first reason? The first reason is where you join an organization, you join a company, but the employer is not keeping their word, they are not keeping their promises. And there are 2 ways I see this happening. Number one, and this is very common, is the issue of pay, the issue of salary. So you join this organization and you agree, it could even be in the contract that when you join this organization, we are going to pay you some certain amount of money. And then if your work is good, if we are able to confirm you, then your salary will increase. And so you find here you are, you've done your best, you've proved yourself within those 3 months or the 6 months, that's the maximum probation period. But guess what? They confirm you and they don't increase the pay. So if the employer is not keeping their word in terms of salary, you are justified to start looking, okay? And even if an opportunity comes, or if you can manage without even another job, it's possible for you to get out there and as you wait for another job. Then the other reason closely related to this, if an employer is not keeping their word, is where they don't provide you with the tools of trade. So you join again this organization, the employer wants you to perform, but they don't give you the tools that you need. If you're in sales, they don't facilitate with transport. If you are a manager, you've just been hired, and this CEO or the directors, they're interfering with the decision making, they are bypassing you and talking to the other staff members. So indirectly, and that they end up creating conflict. So that's another reason, that closely related to the employers not keeping their promises. The second reason why you shouldn't be afraid to make a move and even get another job is if you've had another opportunity, a better opportunity for that matter. So there are instances where you could be applying for a job today, and the thing is, we send CVs all over, and that's given. So let's say for example, we are shooting this video in the month of September. So if you make like 5 applications in the month of September, one calls you for an interview in October, and they like you and they tell you you're going to start in December. But then it so happens, before you join this organization, you also go for another interview. But as at that time, when you're joining this organization in November, these other one, they've not confirmed. However, in December, they come and tell you, hey, guess what? We've now made a decision and we want you to be on board. So if there are better terms, if you compare the two and you see the new employer, it's a better career opportunity for you, then there's no harm in you, saying, okay, let me try this other side. Another reason for you to consider, if you're thinking of quitting a job that you've just started, is where there's a mismatch. And this is closely related to the first reason I gave you, where the employer is not keeping their promise. So where there's a mismatch is, you applied for this job, you liked the job description, it spoke to you, you saw chances of growth. But then you join this organization and you find that you are doing maybe 20% of the job description, or the job is not what you had in mind. The pay might be good, the work environment might also be okay, but then again, there's a mismatch. And I know of instances where someone is hired as a marketer, but you find the company wants you to do sales, and those two are very different. So when they were hiring you, the job description, the job advert they might have put out there was for a marketer. But you realize, wow, 90% of what I do is sales, and this is not adding value to my career. So if there's a mismatch, it's a credible reason for you to quit within a short duration. And lastly, and I'm sure you have also this in mind, it's about the work environment. If you're working in a toxic work environment, then it goes without saying you shouldn't even think twice. And more so, toxic work environment where you see no chance of improvement, because there's no organization which is perfect. We do get stressed, we do get stretched here and there, but if you look at the organization and see this is not going to change, and I'm actually not the first one. In fact, if you talk to people around, they tell you, guess what, after every 2 months we see a new employee coming on board, and that has been the trend. So if that is what's happening, things are not going to change, then you don't have to wait until you start getting headaches, depression. You can't wake up in the morning to go to that work. And I mean, if it starts affecting your health, then without doubt, you get to know that you're in the wrong place, and don't be hard on yourself. It's a high time you quit. So if any of those 4 reasons apply to you, then how do you go about it? How do you go about quitting? Do you just give the laptop, or you shut and you switch off your phone? Because I know there are people who do that. I would say you have to be the bigger person here. Be professional. If the job requires you to give a 7 days notice or 1 month, give the right notice. If it's the resignation letter, write a resignation letter. You don't have to explain your reasons. It's only employers who are supposed to, by the employment law, it's only employers who are required to provide the reasons why. But for you, you can just say you are leaving for personal reasons, and no one can hold a gun to your head and ask you, tell us the reason. However, if you feel that it's genuine, the company is genuine, they want to know the reasons why you want to leave, then you can let them know that, yes, I didn't agree on A, B, C, D. And that's, I believe, there are better opportunities out there. Or even where it's a white and black issue. For example, where the issue I was talking about, the issue of salary, where they don't keep their word, you can let them know. We agreed on this. We agreed upon confirmation my salary would increase to this. But it's been 2 months and this has not happened. So that is the reason why I'm leaving. And that will, hopefully the company will have learned and they will not do that to someone else. And before I go to how do you address the issue on the CV and even interview, there's another reason which I forgot, and let me come back to it. Where if you've been hired by this employer and they are conducting illegal or immoral activities, don't wait to be caught in the mix. For example, as in HR, we need to have a practicing license. So if your employer is forcing you to fire people and procedurally, or you are the accountant and they're asking you to cook books, one day you might find yourself, you've destroyed your career. And I'm sure you've heard people in the press, where someone was working for this institution, there was a scandal, and then all of a sudden you get associated with that company, and then no one is going to hire you. So if you find yourself, you're in an institution where it's either they're doing illegal business or immoral, don't think twice. It's a high time you left to protect your career. So when it comes to CV, I believe any job you've had for less than 3 months, it's not a must it appears to your CV. I don't think, especially if you are an experienced professional. If you are starting out, you don't have any other experience to indicate on your CV. Yes, I would say even if you worked there for 2 or 3 months, it's okay for you to indicate. But if you're at the level of 7 years, 10 years of experience, I would say starting from 4 years, there's no need for you to go indicating a job you had only for a month or 2 months or 3 months and it didn't work. Then when it comes to interview, how do you go about it? So let's say the job is in your CV. I would say the way to handle is be candid without getting into details. So don't go say, or these guys, they promised me that they're going to pay me 100,000. I joined at 70,000, and guess what? The way they portray themselves very big in the media, kumbe they don't even have money. They are really struggling. Don't say that. You just in an interview say, yes, I joined this institution. There are certain promises which were made, and unfortunately they don't keep their end of the bargain, and that's why I left within that short duration. Or you can go and say, if there was a mismatch, you can say, yeah, I joined this institution, I was supposed to perform this responsibility, but the job description changed along the way. Or even say, I didn't agree to some of the things that were happening in the company, and I felt for my own career, it's best that I left. So there you've given a credible reason, and you've not gotten into details, because when you start getting into details, people think, oh, this person is emotional, they are hurt. Probably it's even the ones who had a problem. And remember, the reality is, during an interview, people will always side, an employer will most likely side with the other employer. So the less vindictive you appear, the less emotional you portray yourself to be, the better for your prospects when it comes to you selling yourself during an interview. So there you have it. It's possible for you to quit a job that you've just started. And as long as you're quitting for the right reason, and I gave you 5 reasons that apply, then you shouldn't let fear hold you back. So thank you for watching. For more career tips that I share on a weekly basis, please subscribe to this channel, and looking forward to see you next time.